the Trace Cyrus, he is Miley Cyrus's brother. He was in the band Metro Station. If you don't know who that is, I don't blame you.
He dated Brenda Song.
That I remember.
I hope
Brenda
you know
Song.
who that is.
Yep. So he had some comments about women who do OnlyFans and the idea of morality. And in America today, if you have an idea of questioning any woman's morality, especially when it comes to sexual topics, you are going to be dragged to the high heavens.
Even TMZ, which is rarely biased, called it a bizarre, rambling attack.
Yeah.
An attack. So here's what he actually said. There are so many girls that do OnlyFans that have lost their chance of ever settling down with a good guy with morals. They will try and call those men insecure for having standards. They get a lot of attention from guys on OnlyFans, so they think they have options, but any guy who's so desperate to see sexual content they're willing to pay for it is a desperate loser. A lot of successful guys will sleep with these girls, but they don't want to wife them. I see a lot of these girls speaking out on this now, saying they can't get a serious relationship. It's because men see the value in those girls strictly for sex. They don't look at those women and equate their value as a future wife, mother, or loyal partner. I know some amazing girls that are genuinely good people that do OnlyFans. I just think this independent mindset of not needing a man is extremely toxic and leads to a very lonely future. I hope more girls continue to speak up about this so other girls know the risk of getting into it. Having a good man and a family will bring you more happiness in old age than OnlyFans ever could. So you can imagine that his followers, which are mainly Miley Cyrus stans, are extremely enraged and furious about this. And also, Farrah Abraham tried to get into it with him on social media. She said that he was being disrespectful and that men who are on OnlyFans have no problem getting commitment from their wives.
Is that true?
I don't even know what
that's a big bomb to drop without. Like,
it was
I'm
a big
gonna
claim.
need I'm
it was
source
a big
broing
claim,
this
and
one.
I didn't see a source for it.
I'm source broing this one.
She said
Where's the source
balance
on
and
that?
brand is real. Forget limited, insecure mindsets. And he said, I've been defeated. The most intelligent woman of this generation has put me in check. Farrah Abraham, guys.
I do like the snark on his part for not backing down, right?
Yeah.
Like,
apparently, he says all women should do OnlyFans just because Farrah Abraham said that.
she did.
I mean, you can.
She did.
Yeah.
You can say that it's like not a great idea to do OnlyFans if you're looking to have
a family,
and if that's something that you think is in your future. And at the same time, be like, if that's not, it's okay to live your life that way. Like, one of the things that I think is a big problem in society today is the idea that you have to hold up any number of things that are literally anti-family, right? Like, you can have society that says, look, we are an accepting society that makes room for all different types of lifestyles and stuff, but we want to hold up the nuclear family as the ideal and as good, because this is what tends to make the majority of people happy. That's not to say all you people that don't find happiness in this are wrong.
It's not a one-size-fits-all
Exactly.
solution.
It's just to say that this is not a bad option, and it has historically made most people happy. All the other options, they're still options, and you can do them in America. It's fine, but we endorse these things, and the things like having an OnlyFans, like living my lifestyle. Like, I'm in a band that toured or still tours, and that's something that is a give and take. Like, it's hard to have a family if you're on the road. That's something I went into being in a band knowing full well, so the idea that people aren't in a position or shouldn't be allowed to criticize an OnlyFans girl's lifestyle or my lifestyle, as a touring musician, it is all open for criticism, and there's nothing wrong with saying, look, it's better to focus on wholesome lifestyles and tell people this is what's good for or most likely to be good for you.
I think the inherent difference there is that you're not ashamed of the lifestyle you've chosen, and I think the OnlyFans women are.
Maybe
I think that they're coping really hard because they're ashamed of what they do. Their families disapprove. The guys don't respect them. Even other women don't respect them and know deep down, even if they celebrate it on the surface, that they would never do that. And that's why they're being so overly defensive about the choice that they've made.
Do you think some of them don't think about it that deeply? That they don't think about it in the terms of whether they're respected or not. They just do.
Because you have to push it down if it hurts you that much to realize.
I mean, I
just
just don't know
wrong.
if people think that deeply about anything these days.
I don't think so, but I think of it like this, right? So like a girl's like, maybe she's danced, right, in a strip club or whatever, and so she's comfortable with being naked. She gets on OnlyFans and say she's a decent looking girl, and within a month she's making more per month than she makes in 3 months at the strip club. You know, so it's like...
But ironically, that
very
comes
few of
from a
them do that.
mindset. They say, oh, you're insecure if you wouldn't date a girl with an OnlyFans. But that lifestyle comes from a mindset of insecurity because you're chasing after the security that that amount of money gives you.
I think...
That you feel you couldn't get from a man who provides for you and a family, or you couldn't get from
There's
a corporate job,
so much
which
less
I
of that
grant
out there
is
now.
totally soul crushing, but there's no laptop job more soul crushing than doing OnlyFans.
Well, I mean, maybe, but I think that I think you're assuming there's a lot of assumptions.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think there's a little bit too many assumptions in what you said. Not that your point isn't taken. I just think that there's a lot of things that you're saying that, like I said, I think there's a lot of assumptions in it. So
I just think for a lot of it, it's like nowadays, what were we talking about with Florence Pugh earlier was that, thank you guys. It used to be that if you wanted to live a life that was not deemed part of the mainstream, you accepted that you weren't going to be seen that way. And if it didn't, for a lot of them, it seemed like it invigorated them. It's like they don't feel the need for society's approval. And that was fine.
The subversion is kind of cool.
Yeah. Now you need to both approve of everything and be able to live the alternative lifestyle. Yeah. And like I said, I don't care. I make no judgments either way. I don't feel bad for you if you have a hard time finding a person who wants to be married to you, because my hope would be that if you're a full-fledged adult, you've thought this through, you've put you've really, really put your mind to what you're about to do. You've made risk versus reward assessments about whether whether the money for this is worth the struggle it's going to cause later, or at the very least you considered, am I going to be looking for someone later? Now, a lot of them probably aren't thinking that far ahead, but I can't speak for them. I can only speak for myself. My hope would be that if I was in their shoes, which I wouldn't be because I just wouldn't be, that they would have thought that through. As a fully grown adult, with your own agency, responsible for your own actions, but you can't expect everyone to agree with your lifestyle. And it doesn't make a person insecure to disagree with you.
The whole thought, thinking things through, is kind of what my point was earlier, about a girl that dances, right? If in a month you make 3 times what you would make in a month, right away, if that happens that quickly, there isn't a lot of time to think it through, right? They're already dancing. They're not thinking about dancing at a club is not the same thing as putting videos on the internet. That's a whole different animal, because they stay. So you don't have time to think about that. Oh, it's for girls that are dancing, they probably aren't thinking. It's different. It's not, to them, it's just oh, well, I'm already getting naked, and it doesn't occur to them
it's
that
incrementally desensitizing yourself, normalizing a behavior to yourself that you would have never considered.
Exactly.
There was a whole trend in Hollywood in movies to talk about the stripper who is stripping to pay for law school, because you wouldn't see later, that life. At the very least, you could leave it behind at a certain point. Maybe that's a bit of a pipe dream to think that's the way that works, but it's a stereotype for a reason. But also think about what Pinky Doll said recently. She's like, how did my pictures end up on Google? Yeah. How did my OnlyFans pictures end up on Google?
You put something on the internet and then people posted it elsewhere on the internet? Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But it's like with Florence Pugh, freeing the nipple. If you're shouting from the rooftops about how much you love yourself and how comfortable you are with how you look and putting that out there into the world, it's really difficult for people to believe you. You're overcompensating for something.
I say the same thing every time I see a video. It's pushing back on my haters. It's like, I don't care. I'm like, you made this video, therefore you pretty much care. Like if you took the time to film this video, edit this video, and release a video about how much you don't care what your haters think, you care at least a little bit. So it's why I always laugh when people, it's like the best way that you can win in an online argument is to not engage, because what a person who's not arguing in good faith is doing is just looking to get any reaction out of you they can. Knowing that they took up any of your time is what drives them. So by not engaging, you win. And in this case, they'd be better off just not engaging.
A couple of comments here say, come educate your brother at Miley Cyrus on minding his business regarding other people's sex
That
lives.
is another
That is
false
so
dichotomy.
disingenuous.
Yes, it is.
Someone having an OnlyFans, being a public presence, posting all of this and promoting it on social media is not their sex life. It's their career.
But not even just that,
And it's a public one.
You don't get to put things out for public consumption and expect, like if I want, like for the most
It'd
part.
be one thing if you were a peeping Tom who looked into someone's window and saw them doing some debaucherous sex act and then posted about how wrong that is. That's not what's happening here.
Exactly. If you put up any kind of profile on the internet, or you put up pictures or videos, and then someone takes them and puts them somewhere else, you are in no position to complain. Not at all, because you put them on the internet. Like, that's it. Too bad.
You
it
get
happened.
to make your
Pinky doll,
profile
deal with it.
private, make your profile private, don't monetize it in any way. I don't even remember the quote, but it's basically like, the only way to avoid criticism is to see nothing, say nothing, do nothing your whole life. Like if that's what you want, like if you want to live a life free of the critique of others, especially in a world like the internet where, avatars and anonymity give people free license to treat you awful. I've been great. I got some really funny ones recently, because it's one thing for people to make fun of like the show or like whatever they think my politics are, but I've gotten some ones making fun of skating again recently. I was like, it's like the 90s all over again. This is great. Like, and it's from anonymous accounts that don't, that I don't know, and it makes me laugh. Because it's like, you have to expect that. If you're going to be a public figure, you're going to get the pushback somehow. We get comments all the time. Part of the job. Part of the job. So.
Another comment said, come get your bro at Miley Cyrus. He's out here slut shaming on his story. I have not seen the phrase slut shaming as often these days.
Yeah.
But that too is a very disingenuous accusation, because I might agree that something is slut shaming if it's for an invalid reason. Okay, like if you see a woman wearing a skirt that you think is too high above her kneecap, and you think that she's a slut and you call her a slut, you maybe could call that slut shaming, because it's not grounded in anything she's ever done. But if someone is,
but it's still something they're putting out in the world.
If someone is behaving in a slutty way, if someone is a literal digital prostitute, how is shaming them for that, or just merely criticizing them for that, slut shaming? It's quite literally what they have chosen to be.
That's a hooker shaming.
Yeah.
I feel like sluts and hookers are different.
Also, I love the idea that
Like sex workers and sluts and sex workers are different.
But there's a lot of overlap in that Venn diagram.
Fair enough. But if you're talking about like when you specify sex workers, I feel like that is like a different thing than sluts. And in my opinion, sluts are like a bad idea, because that's where like STDs get spread and stuff.
At this
Sex
point,
workers tend to not do that.
The sluts are now the trad wives compared to the
and the trad wives are
e-hookers.
Mennonites. And the real trad wives are Mennonites.
Basically, or the cave women at this point. Yeah.
Trad wife, like TM circle, like I'm monetizing my trad wifeness on the internet.
My trad wifery.
Yeah, it's I'm making a lot of money by posting pictures in floral dresses that my mom would have worn, that I know you never wear out in public other than on your Instagram videos, ladies.
Yeah. He also had Trey Cyrus had a public statement recently, a couple days ago, where he said that he would be more successful if he didn't come from a famous family.
That's funny.
He said, I love my family so much, but I think I'd be much more successful if I wasn't part of a famous family. People immediately want to judge me and discredit all my hard work because of who I'm related to, but that's so far from the truth. I got a record deal without anyone from my label even knowing who I was related to until after they signed me.
I would like to. I would like him to prove that. But if so, that's awesome.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Is that true? Like, how did he go under a different name?
Yeah.
I mean, it's right there, Cyrus.
I mean, but Cyrus isn't such an uncommon name that they would necessarily know it was.
It depends on when he joined Metro Station, because
remember, it's not just
right. It's also his dad. But like when Metro Station was big in like 2007, that was at the peak of Hannah Montana.
He's like his record label Trout. He does Boot, Scoot, and Boogie.
Yeah.
Right.
And Wrecking Ball. Oh, I guess Wrecking Ball came out like a decade later. But fine. We'll round up to a less. He does Boot, Scoot, and Boogie Party in the USA together as his tryout, and he's like, "Why would they sign me with a last name like Cyrus?"
Someone commented, "I never knew she had a brother."
Also, I also want to point out that there's nothing in any way bizarre or even incoherent about his post. No. It's a very reasonably worded and fair exchange. Yeah. You can disagree with him. Absolutely, but characterizing it as bizarre is hilarious.
It's like rambling. It's a very well written post as well.
But that all points to some kind of deficiency mentally. It points to mental illness or something like that. It's like calling him crazy. They
did one of the articles today. Said like Oliver Anthony laments porn in bizarre interview with Joe Rogan. Yeah. Like, you scumbags. It's you absolute scumbags.
Yeah. It's about credibility and about attacking the person's ability to reason.
It's like the news that came out about the two guys who were sentenced to who did bad things in Uganda, and they said that they were prosecuted for, what was it? It was
for being
aggravated homosexuality.
And
when in reality there was PDF file going on there.
And R-wording of like an elderly person or something like that in the media. No matter how much you hate the media, you don't hate them enough. I encourage you to hate them more.
Yes.
So that way, every time somebody says Brett and Mary are journalists, just know I take that as a slur. Yes. I take that as a slur, and the worst kind of slur. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media, and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.